Welcome everyone to another episode of This is Culture. Last week we talked about progression. This week we're going to talk about adapting to change. Now recently I just came back from the Inman Connect show in Las Vegas, and that was the hottest topic, is that the industry that we're in, the real estate industry, is changing. Currently right now, one of the biggest things that they're seeing is a lot of new tech and startup companies coming in to the space and making big waves. Now the latest thing that just hit the market is that Amazon is getting into real estate. Amazon recently teamed up with Realogy, and they're actually going to be teaming up and creating all new types of programs and systems and all new ways of doing real estate. So I'm very interested in seeing how that's going to play out. The other thing that we learned about is iBuyers, and a lot of these institutional buyers that are going out there and buying homes now, and a lot of brokers in different parts of the country are actually very scared about this because they feel like it could be taking away a lot of income from the traditional brokerage system. Now, I for one don't think it's going to be a big deterrent to most real estate agents, because at the end of the day, people work with who they like. But I was lucky enough to interview a group of people from across the country, from Hawaii and all the way to Oklahoma, about what their thoughts of the future of real estate is going to be. And I also had the opportunity to interview a gentleman who actually sold his house to an iBuyer. So please check it out. Let's see what you guys think. Hey everyone, I'm here with Shane, and he's going to give us his takeaways on what he feels where the real estate industry is going. Shane, please, your experience?
Sure. Based on my personal experience, I would say it is going to the internet and to companies like Opendoor, because it just took all the stress out of everything for me, and it gave me the ability to pick my own close date, which was by far one of the biggest benefits, was being able to move at a stress-free level. So I would say if no one's used a company like this, I would highly recommend it. And I certainly will be using a company like this if I buy again and if I sell again.
So you didn't feel you were selling to an investor, you felt like you were partnering up with someone?
I did, and at first I thought I was going to be working with a middleman that was just going to take their cut, and I was going to be the loser, and that's not how it went down. They made me basically what I felt was the same type of offers I would have gotten through a traditional real estate person, except I would have had to do all the work.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your feedback on how it was. And iBuyers, guys, if you've never heard of it before, is the big buzzword, big buzz phrase here at Inman Connect this year. So look out for it. Even though it's a very small portion of the industry, it's definitely getting a lot of attention. So Shane, thank you very much for your input on that.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right.
So I'm here with Hamudi and Micah. They're from Oklahoma. They've been in real estate for many, many years. They're also very active investors. And I'd love to figure out from you guys your takeaways on where you feel the real estate market is going, the real estate industry is going.
You know, I think it's a really exciting time. I mean, we're here at Inman in Vegas, and we're seeing all the innovation that's happening. And so I think real estate in the next 5 years is going to be completely different, as you know. So, agents are getting more technology savvy, which is really important because that's important for the consumers as well.
It's huge.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you guys shared with me that you're moving actually into an entire different market. You're going from Oklahoma right to Florida. Right to Florida. It's a big it's a big culture shock.
Right.
How do you expect to pick up business from where you were before to where you're going now? How do you feel like you're going to have to reinvent yourself, or do you have a contingency plan?
I think it's the same way we did it in Oklahoma. It's nothing different, it's just different state, I mean, I know it's going to be a challenge, but actually it's going to be faster there, because I feel like in Oklahoma we got so comfortable. We've been doing it for a long time, like we got comfortable, but I think when we move to Florida, it's going to push us actually more. It's a comfort zone,
Yeah, growth happens when you get out of your comfort zone. And one thing that you don't know yet is this guy came from Israel 12 years ago and didn't speak any English. So if you can do that, Florida's going to be super easy.
Move to Florida is way easier.
That's great, guys, because people out there, they're always thinking, something's around the corner, the market's going to change, what's in the horizon. But you guys seem very comfortable that you're not even waiting for the market to change. You're going to change your market voluntarily. Absolutely. You guys can go into different states, switch things up. So when a different market comes, it's not going to be really any surprise to you guys, because you guys know how to adapt.
Right. You can't live your life in fear, and that's in business as well. So, we know there's a cycle in real estate. We all know that.
There should be.
You should pay attention to the cycle. It's going to naturally change. But at the end of the day, you don't want to stop what you're doing on a daily basis and live in that fear.
So I'm excited to be here with Elizabeth. She's a broker out of Hawaii, Paradise State. So she's going to tell us what she feels the future has in store for the real estate industry. So Elizabeth, please tell us.
So, well, first of all, I am in Oahu Island, right? I'm in Hawaii. But it's really interesting because what I've seen is that Hawaii is such a different place for when it comes to the market. Why? Because it dribbles. Our cash flow is not the best, but our appreciation is amazing. Like, I mean, I actually have a property appreciated $100,000 in 1 year. My take on the market is I think it's going to be a little bit of a plateau. We're going to start seeing that. Because, you know, I think it was like, it went really up. And then it kind of went down. But then the rates, and there's just been different factors that has allowed the market to still get back to moving, but maybe not as crazy as what it was before.
Do you see any writing on the wall as far as the maybe a recession, a slowdown, a crash? Is there anything that you think would trigger that?
Well, for Hawaii, it's a little bit different again because we have a lot of international buyers.
Yes, you do.
Right? So that keeps our economy really well. Not just that, but in the Oahu Island, we have a lot of like the military bases.
Yes.
So no matter how the market is doing, they're going to be PCSing. They're going to be moving to Hawaii.
Yeah.
We have 52,000 families coming to Hawaii every year.
Okay.
So that always keeps our prices pretty good. And they get, you know, the housing allowance. When you move to Hawaii, I don't know if you knew, but it's considered international for a military customer. So they get COLA. So they get their BAH and they also get COLA. So all of a sudden they're making more money.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So allows them to purchase something in Hawaii with no down payment, right?
So guys, I'm here at Inman Connect with William. He's a broker out of LA. So I'm trying to get a commentary from different folks from different parts of the country and where you think the industry is going. And what do you think what's around the corner for us?
I think as we go forward, we are going to see a lot more specialization in this industry. The agents that are really good are definitely going to get better, continue to provide value and get compensated as such.
Sure.
And then we're also going to see really a weeding out of the agents that aren't so good. They just aren't deserving of the commissions. They allow the industry to have the perception that agents are overpaid. So as they get weeded out, I think that the agents that are really good will become even greater.
Do you feel the independent brokerages have something to worry about with these big monster conglomerates coming on board with all this backing, all this financial backing?
Only the shitty ones.
Only the shitty ones, right? Right, because as long as you have a good model, as long as you're a good person, I think people want to be around you.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of the big box brokerages, they have agents that aren't that good. They may have a higher percentage of bad agents than smaller companies.
Absolutely.
Smaller companies theoretically should have better quality control. It's not always the case, but ideally that would be the case.
So in my opinion, change is the only constant in our lives. The real estate market is changing. Every market out there is changing. Every day is something a little bit different in any industry. But what we have to remember is at the end of the day, you create your own market. Whatever you bring to the table, whatever value you could bring is how much you equally get paid for it. So don't worry if there's going to be new competition out there. Competition is healthy as long as it's fair. Now, what you guys need to think about is how can you make yourselves better? So speaking of making things better, obviously you guys know we do a lot of rehabs. Part of our job is to take an old house and to guide someone into making it a beautiful new construction. Now, we're obviously lucky enough to have the background and we have properties that we're working on ourselves. So that brings us to our next segment, Flipping on Faith. Now, Flipping on Faith, if you guys remember, is a segment we used to do a while back and we've now transitioned it to be part of our show. Flipping on Faith brings people along a real live property where we go and take it from a messed up home into a beautiful property that you can put on the market and sell for top dollar. Now, a lot of people don't get the opportunity to see what really goes on behind the scenes. A lot of people who watch HGTV or flip this or flip that house, they don't really get to see what really happens. In 30 minutes, you will never figure out how to flip a house or get a home into sellable condition. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down for you guys and show you exactly what happens at these properties that you don't get the opportunity to see. All the problems, all the good stuff, but mostly the things that you've never heard of before. So that's what Flipping on Faith is, and I hope you enjoy this segment. So today we're on location in Belleville, one of our properties that we're trying to buy as a short sale from the bank. But unfortunately, the bank wants too much money for this property. They've asked us for $265,000 when our initial offer was $150,000. Now, most people would give up, but the process of getting the bank down from this point is called the value dispute. So today we're going to figure out what's wrong with this house in order for us to be able to bring the price down. Now, the appraiser that valued us from a $265,000 has never even been in this house, so all they did was a drive-by appraisal. We're going to go inside and we're going to do a scope of work, figure out everything that's wrong with the house, take pictures, and then give the bank a full detailed report of why the home price needs to come down. So our next property is located on Summer Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. Now for those of you who don't know, Newark is a super hot market. They're calling it the second Brooklyn. Now a lot of people are coming in from outer state and buying tons of properties here, so I was lucky to get this property. Now a few years back I probably would have gotten this house for half the price of what I paid, but we were lucky to get it for $225,000. But even at that price, this home is going to need a lot of work. So I have a contractor with me today to get an estimate of how much it's going to cost to do all the repairs. The other floors are in pretty decent condition, but I don't want to rent it that way because if you do, you're going to end up getting tenants that are not really that good. You want to have a good product in order to have the best tenants on the market. Now this home is considered to be a 2-family, but possibly able to be converted to a 3-family. So normally I would just hire a contractor and ask them for a budget and a timeline in which they're going to finish. On this house, I'm trying something new. So since time is money, I'm assigning one contractor to the first floor and a different contractor to the second floor. And I've told them both, whoever finishes their floor first is gonna get the job for the third floor. Now this is something new and hopefully it works because every time we do get a contractor, they take way too long and they go over budget. So let's see what happens this time around. One of the perks of being a real estate broker is that your agents are always hustling. So today, Alejandro told me about a property that he just got a listing appointment for in Rahway. Now, Rahway is also a very hot market. A lot of people are coming to this town because it's a commuter-friendly town and it's on the rise. So today we're checking out a home with one of our clients and she's desperate to get rid of it since she's behind on a few payments. So this home is going to need a lot of work. She currently has a tenant in here and the tenant, I believe, has no idea what's going on and the fact that she's going to have to move in a few months. So this is going to be considered another short sale property. The house is going to be sold as is, so we're going to be responsible for all cleanups, any possible oil tanks, and even getting rid of the tenant if they decide not to leave before the closing. Now this house is a single family in which we're probably going to end up fixing it and flipping it, but if we do decide to keep it, it'll make for a great rental property. Now talking to our client after viewing the home, I've let her know that there is no possible way in which I can pay her enough to cover her mortgage, so it's definitely going to have to be a short sale process. Unfortunately, no one has ever explained this process to her, so I have to educate her and let her know that a short sale is the best option for her. She's just excited to get rid of this property so she can move on with her life and start to restore her credit. So it seems like a win-win. Our next property is located in Avenel. Now there's a really interesting story with this house. One of my clients was going to purchase this house, but at the last moment decided that it was not the right property for them. If you ask me, it was just a case of cold feet. But the broker that I am, I stepped in and I bought the house and I got a good deal on the property. Now after buying the home, I finally stepped foot inside for the very first time. Now walking through it with my project manager, we can see that the home is actually not terrible shape, but it does need a lot of updating. So what I have to do now is get my contractor in here in order to see how much money it's going to cost me to fix this place. Now my contractor's here for the first time and he's thinking that we need a complete renovation here. Now it's always your job to make sure that your contractor doesn't go overboard, because if you do, it's going to end up costing you twice as much money as what you really actually need to spend. So in this home we decided on just doing new kitchens, new baths, and just updating the flooring and painting the entire home. So that's going to save us about $30,000 from the original contractor's estimate. So now after I've given him the green light, he's finally started his demolition and he's moving at a really good pace. Now the good thing about having a contractor that charges you the appropriate amount is that they never leave the job until they're done. Now that's what I love working with reputable contractors. They take the job seriously and they will make sure that your home gets done when it needs to be done. So I guess it's true what they say. Flipping ain't easy, but it sure is fun. Now every few weeks we're going to bring you guys updates so you can see for yourselves how challenging but also how rewarding it could be to get your hands into real estate for the very first time. You're going to see a lot of changes and a lot of progressions and also a lot of adaptations, but just how it is in real life. And speaking of which, I just recently had the honor of interviewing Jon-Erik Santana. Now he also had a lot of changes to make in his life, and hopefully his story will inspire you. Let's see what he had to say. So in studio with us today, we have Jon-Erik from Average Joe's.
Above Average Joe.
Oh, above Average Joe's. Not your average Joe, but above Average Joe. So I met you a couple weeks ago. We were at the convention together, the real estate convention together, and we got to talking, and you had such a mindset that really just kind of grasped me. And I said, you know what, we got to get you in here today because I'm sure our audience will really benefit from hearing your story. Tell me about how you got into this business, what you've been through.
I had a career. I was a construction manager for a wireless contracting company, and my wife got pregnant. So when she got pregnant, I knew that I had to make up for the income that she was no longer going to bring into the house. I'm a firm believer in a lot of the times what you need is right in front of you. You don't have to venture outside to get it. It's you're really close in proximity. So I looked around my office and I noticed that our office had a cleaning service that didn't do a really good job. So necessity being the mother of invention, I said, listen, who cleans here? How much do they charge? And the office manager asked me, he says, why do you ask? And I told him, I said, well, because I'll do it. And quickly I formed the LLC. Everything was organic. We did it for roughly a year. On December 11th of 2017, I got a notice of cancellation of services on my desk. Corporate said we're no longer going to employ or hire contract above average Joes. So I said, okay. 2 days later, I got laid off. And both of those things got taken from me back to back. I got fired 2 times in 1 week.
Oh, I guess this was all planned, I guess, right?
Faith is a big driver for me. So I believe that God had a bigger plan for me. And I was left with just the name of a company and no clients because I never was able to grow because my career was so demanding. So 2018, we came back from Florida, which, you know, we went to Florida. We had a already planned vacation. So now I'm on vacation just destroyed because I have no idea what's going to happen. And I decided to write a goal list. And I started writing these things down that I wanted to achieve the coming year. In my head, quickly evolved. It no longer became about what JonErik can do for JonErik, but it was what can JonErik do as a business owner that nobody else really wants to do. And 2018 was a very rough year. I wasn't able to achieve a lot of the things that I wanted to as far as giving, but I was faithful. I believe that God gave me a challenge and I was going to accept that challenge. So we pushed on through, and I had a conversation with one of my friends, and he said, as I'm talking to you, I see real estate flashing in front of my face. And I don't know what that means to you. Now, again, being a very faithful and spiritual person, every hair on my body stood up, and I was like, there's something supernatural that's here. And I don't recognize what it is, but I believe that there's something bigger than myself, and my brain has to catch up with my spirit here. A couple months later, I went to a small mixer, and I was in the presence of a few people, and I pour out my heart, because that's what I do. Just pour out my heart and see what happens. And one of the ladies there said, I need to introduce you to Sean Ziem. So I go, okay, who's Sean Ziem? He's a guy that's in insurance, but he knows so many people in real estate. So I go, okay, I'll meet this guy, Sean. Met Sean. He introduced me to a few people, and then those people introduced me to a few people. And then all of a sudden now I'm just rubbing elbows with everybody in real estate, and I'm just handing out my business card to people, and they're asking me questions. Oh, do you have a crew? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm just like, yeah, because I believe that if God called me to it, he'll call me through it. And shortly after that, I went to an event. Somebody asked me, they said, JonErik, can you run a table for me, or can you just stand in for me and hand out my business cards? And I said, yeah. This is what Above Average Joe's services is. We'll do what's necessary to help our fellow man. The guy paid for my entrance to come to this event just to hand out business cards, and I'm handing out my business cards as well. He told me to do that. Shortly after that, he told me, John, I need you to run my table at Matt Marinoff's real estate boot camp. I said, okay. So I did it again. Now I'm rubbing elbows with even more people. And all of a sudden, things just shifted. I'm in the presence of people, and I'm looking around a room that I have no idea why I'm here. But I'm here.
Of course.
You know, I don't have anything in common with any of these people. There's no other contractors or service providers like my service in these rooms. And it's like everything was set up for me to knock these things down. So now I'm here, and again, I went to that other event that I met you guys at.
Of course.
And I'm just so privileged to have been chosen or called to do something like this, to be able to share my story and share what it is that we're going through. And that's, you know, in a nutshell. There's so much more.
There's a couple of things you mentioned earlier, and when you were explaining to me how you got to this point, they kind of stuck out, and I see some similarities between your story and my story. When you got laid off, you had a vacation that was planned, and do you think by any chance that that was coincidence? Because I don't see it as such. Because I feel that whenever you're about to embark on a huge journey, the God kind of takes you aside and says, look, you have to sharpen your sword. Right now is the time for you to sharpen your mind, get everything in place, make a plan, because you're about to go on a tremendous journey. And the same thing happened to me before I built this place. I had a month vacation scheduled to see my parents. And during that whole time, all I did was read. I read 5 business books, and I got myself prepared, and I shifted my whole mindset, and I didn't feel as a victim. I felt as an opportunity. And it created what you see today. But I want to know, how did you feel when you took that vacation? Did you feel like your hands were tied behind your back, or did you feel like this is an opportunity for me to make things better?
It was a very opportune moment for me to solidify what it is that this company was going to be, and what it was. And then while I was down there, I felt in my heart, and I felt like the voice of God told me, I will not grow you outside of your discomfort. I will grow you in the midst of your discomfort. And I will grow you in the midst of people that don't believe in you. So I said, I don't have any haters in Florida. Only for me to come back up here to start doing stuff that people, familiar and non-familiar people, you're crazy, you can't do this, you're not able to do this. And so it was definitely, it wasn't hands tied behind my back, it was a moment of breathing.
What was the first thing you did when you got back? How did you get the business rolling?
When I came back, I didn't have money. I didn't receive unemployment yet. So I came back to having $103 in my pocket. And I showed up at the Sunday service. And it's offering time in the house of the Lord. So everybody's like, you know, grabbing their money. And I was going to take the 3 and put it into the bucket. And God told me, give me the $100. I said, no, that's a tall order. I walk out, I can't even afford like a cheeseburger after this.
Right? Oh my God.
And
it's Sunday.
Yeah.
We're taking a family out.
Exactly. So I did. I went up there and I dropped the $100, and without reservation, I just did it. And as I was walking back, I decided to stop, and I told God, I said, this is not an offering, it's not a tithe. This is an investment in every promise that you have laid up for me. I want to see this thing happen, because if you gave me this for this not to grow, then it makes no sense why you would even place it in my hands. So I sat down and I closed my eyes and I mourned over the $100 that I just gave. And when I closed my eyes, I saw a vision of myself sitting at an executive table, and a desk. I'm not one, or at this time I wasn't one to have visions. But when I closed my eyes, instantly I saw this executive desk. It was like a red oak desk. And I'm seeing in first person checks in front of my face that required my signature. And each check was $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, and each check had a destination. And one of them was like, oh, for your mom. Like, this was for my mom. This one was for the church. This one is for the family that needs it. Like, and in my head, I'm like, $15,000 to a family. That's
huge.
Yeah. And it's that people don't do this. So, and I heard a voice behind me say, because you've been faithful in what I just told you, I will allow you to see this happen. So I've been holding on to that new promise, because I believe that I need to become successful to help others become successful. I believe that I have to build this out to give others opportunities, not jobs. I need to be able to bless people. And I'm very emotional about this, because it's so deeply rooted into my spirit and my emotions that it's very hard to like separate it. But I need to be able to bless people out of their situations. I want to be able to break the back of poverty over people's lives. And that's something that's not common, not from where I'm from, not from the family that I grew up in. It's just, it's different. I don't understand how things that were supposed to make me bitter made me better. And I don't attribute any of that to myself. It's just obedience, man. You
mentioned that what you think about mostly is how can you help other people, and how can you give away the majority of your income. A lot of people don't look at it that way. A lot of people put money before everything else, right? They make money their goal. And there's been so many times that I've given lessons to everyone, to the audience, to my team, to my office, that if you make money your objective, you're gonna fail. Because real estate is hard, business is hard. Everything you do that's worthwhile is gonna be hard. And if you make money your only objective, you're gonna fail, because you're not gonna see money right away. And when you don't see it, that means you're going to end up backing out and doing something else. But when you put passion, or you put others, or you put a goal, a vision before anything else, and you just concentrate on that and think about that day in and day out, eventually the money's going to come, because the money finds its way to attractive and passionate people. You know, you have to take care of your team, you have to take care of your people, you have to take care of everyone around you, you have to give value to everyone before you expect anything in return.
Very good.
You know, and I'm sure you're a big follower. That sounds like that's exactly what you do for your business. How can someone find you if they need your services? Where are you guys on Instagram and Facebook? Where are you social?
Yeah, we're on Instagram,
numbers?
we're on Facebook. We have an email. So the email is above, or AAJoes Services, AAJOES Services @gmail.com. The Facebook, you can start typing in Above Average Joes, and it should come up. It's this logo. You know, you can say I'm the face of the company. That's a corny dad joke, but
Gotcha.
we're also on Instagram. So Instagram is _Above Average Joe Services. It is a lot to type. Initially, when I formed it, I wasn't thinking about that, but then I went to change it, and a lot of people were getting lost in the traffic. So, so we're on Instagram, Facebook, and you can email us directly. You can also give me a call at 973-207-6379. That's the cell phone. Text, call, doesn't matter. Send an email, however, smoke signal.
Yeah, you'll find them.
Yeah.
You'll find them.
Yep.
That's awesome, brother. So any last words to the audience? Any last thoughts that you could leave them with?
Just, if you have a dream, don't put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know, a dream deferred is a dream that's unachieved. And I think that this is the takeaway. We don't give ourselves dreams. Dreams are something that are given to us. We don't think of things, we realize things, right?
Okay.
That's the way that I look at it.
I love it.
And at the end of the day, I didn't think that I was going to have a company. I didn't think I was going to have a cleaning company at that. I do something that it needs to be done, but it's not. I love waking up every morning and cleaning people's houses, but I do love the feeling of walking into something and leaving it differently than how I walked in.
Got it.
So, you know, dream big, dream hard, and find what it is that you are called to do. Your natural abilities and your natural gifts are something that if you monetize them, you can, who knows the potential that you can experience. So just be encouraged and be inspired.
Love it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yes.
That's awesome, because you'll implement that on everything.
Yes. Very true.
Thank you, Jon-Erik. Thank you guys for watching. So excited to have you in studio today. Hope you guys got as much out of it as I did. Really excited to put some of your principles into action, and also share the information with my crew.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.